Alright, so I know some of you guys are interested in this. I moved the welder over near the door. It actually warmed up quite a bit today, so we started working on the skid. I decided we have some future plans that I haven't told you guys, so we've decided to start finishing this thing out. So I'm getting a lot of the rust and scaly stuff cleaned off of it. We just got these arms cut out, and I cut out, I left like a 1/4 inch and sunk them down in. So those will hug up against the side here. And then not this hole, but we're gonna use a bolt, we're gonna make a bolt hole right here. So rather than bolting in here, because this one was a bad spot, this one came out perfect. So we're just gonna end up using those as drain holes, the one that we're not using. So this will be a main hole here. This will be a drain hole. So in case water wants to come in or go down that little tube and in. There's that. We started practicing with 60-10 today. It is definitely a different animal. So tomorrow we're gonna go grab a sheet of 16 gauge. I think it was 45 by 29 or some shit, something like that. So we got this guy welded all in here. I didn't weld any of this. I started grinding because I'm like, maybe I wanna do a practice weld, but I'm like, there's really no point in wasting any rod. But we got half a rod left of my 60-10. We're using 60-10 1/8 inch to start welding some of that stuff out. I like the 70-18 a little bit more, but the 70-18 I noticed kind of burns holes more than the 60-10 does. The 60-10 has been doing a lot better with that. We're slowly getting there, right? We're slowly figuring out the 60-10. I've never laid a bead with one before, and I decided let's just practice because I'm kind of getting low on my 70-18. So, like I said, we'll drill the holes on the side of those, and I'd also like to make, if possible, probably make a drain hole for that guy there. But we're gonna get this thing all completely sprayed off, and then because I don't want this to rust, so I'm gonna get everything cleaned. This is not going back in the truck. We have already test fitted it, but this is not going back in the truck until we know that it's 100%, because when I mounted this in, I kind of made it a little crooked. So back here, the holes are a little oblong, and that was because I put the bolt holes in there and then drilled these holes out, which I shouldn't have done that. I should have got it lined up back here, because if it's lined up back here and it's straight with this edge, then it's straight up there. So that was my bad. I wanted to do that. That is all centered, so I don't have to worry about that. The little notches down in the bottom, that clears. Also decided we're probably just gonna leave this section open because it leaves me a nice big open space for me to throw stuff back on both sides. And for the guys wondering why I don't run a service box, keep getting this over and over again. I don't like service boxes. I don't like flatbeds. I've tried both of them. With a service bed, it's really wide and you just basically have a ton of catch-alls. And with a pickup bed, I have the option of going back to a regular pickup truck. I use this thing as a pickup truck more than I do anything else. I just like having a pickup truck. If this truck ever gets totaled, I can take this and go move it to another truck. So that's kind of my logic there. I don't like them. They're ugly. They're impractical. They're bulky. They're just, to me, it doesn't make sense. I like my regular pickup bed. So my 2 cents. Like I said, I will see you guys back here tomorrow with all of the pieces, and we're gonna start cutting that out. So I'm just gonna drive it around like that. I had to order new tailgate bushings, so I'm not putting the tailgate back on. I'm just gonna leave it like this. That tailgate's fucked anyway, so I might just go and try to find a new one. Kind of hit the tail light a little bit on that one truck, and then pulling that piece out, I kind of clipped this one a little bit, so that was a $400 mistake. All right, it is later in the day. We're going tomorrow at 7:30 to grab this piece here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill the holes in the piece we're getting. We're getting 16 gauge steel. I'm gonna go ahead and make another one of these for the other side. I didn't wanna do it earlier because making this literally took forever to cut it. So what I'm gonna do is just use from where I cut, go over 4 inches. I just got back from Walmart and we got a bunch of things. I got hinges. I don't know if these hinges will work good, but I got 2 new tape measures. And yes, I did check these to make sure that they are actually the correct bullshit. I got hinges, and then this is a temporary one for the front. And I had to go get one of those, and yeah, so I got 2 hinges. We'll see how these work, 3.5s. Basically what we're gonna do is just pretend this is flipped over. I'm going to make a frame that will go on top of this, and we're not gonna weld it in like this. I'm actually gonna do triangle ends. So I'm gonna measure from here to all the way here, and then cut diagonal, sorry, and then do the same thing. And then we're gonna put that on hinges, and then we're just gonna weld these on. So I don't know if these will work. They said they're pretty tough. Had to get a new one of them. And then this one will be on the front for the lock, just to keep it closed. I understand, like, security wise, I'm always in a good area, so I'm not super worried about it. I will update it later, but there's all of that. Quick little update on the air seat. I like it. I found online I can get all the pieces that I want to convert it, and also you can run it out like this. So I've been running it like that. This thing here I went and fixed, so you can move this up and down. I am looking for the console for a mega cab. I want that. This here, if I pick this up, you can see moves this around. So I just run that on the lowest setting. And then there's another lever down here. I forget. I think it moves it side to side. Lumbar support, up, down. Been getting used to it. When it's in this position, your legs are like all the way out here. So I've been running it like this, and it definitely like helps mimic the other seat. So, and then I just found out that this light went out, so I got to pull that whole piece out. So I don't know. I also was curious if, okay, so third gens for some reason do not have a four-wheel drive light. Like, you know how some trucks you put it in four-wheel and it'll tell you? Apparently the newer trucks do not, because like right there's the things, but for some reason, whoops, for some reason it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know why there's no four-wheel drive light for it, but gonna get that fixed. And then I want to get 99% of this done. We're gonna go get some rust inhibitor to spray the entire thing. So I'm gonna get as much of it wire wheeled off as I can, rust inhibitor the whole thing, and then we're gonna paint it black. So everything up here is pretty much done. I'm not gonna mess with anything up here. I'm happy with this. I am gonna put one bar across here because, like I was saying, underneath the toolbox right here, I wanna put 2 welding reels. And also cutting this metal out with a disc takes for fucking ever, and it has sold me on the torches. So we probably will do an acetylene bottle over there, and then probably 2 oxygen bottles on one side or the other. I don't know where I'm gonna put it yet, but all that stuff, we're gonna have our pole here so that, like, when I'm working on customer stuff, it's nice to be able to hang your stuff, welding leads, any other tools. So I'm gonna factor that in. The pole, Hoosier pole, and then have the other pole over here so it can stop, swing over. That's kind of where I'm figuring it, but that I can do while it's in the truck, and this metal is gonna be plenty thick. So this is gonna be the first step. Once this is done, I know you guys said you wanted to see the flatbeds first. I'm very busy with doing that. This truck, getting it ready for what we're gonna be doing, and I also wanna build out the bumper, so I think I'm gonna do the bumper first, and we have a customer that wants a flatbed, so we're probably gonna end up making a short bed flatbed first. And I kind of want, when I do the flatbeds, I want to mimic the side like this. I want to mimic that into the flatbed, at least for the front part. So let's get to work. I will skip through a bunch of this bullshit. This is probably gonna be a long video. We're slowly pulling it, only having cutoff discs. The torch is not made for this. We had our torch setup does, you can see how like sloppy it is, which I didn't do that. I just had it cut. This one was cut with a disc, and it just takes for damn ever. So realistically, probably takes about an hour and a half to make just this piece here and then make it fit. It's supposed to be 4 by, I think it was like 18, but I tried to mimic that one. I made it a little bit bigger than I did that one by accident. So it is what it is. That one's like all nice and in there, but I still had to grind that one. So this one's gonna need a little bit more grinding the corners, but I'm gonna probably have to lop off a good bit on this end, but grinding it is faster than actually cutting it. Those cutoff discs, I've gone through quite a few, about 5 or 6 of them so far. So, but once we get that, we're gonna be able to triangle cut these and make our 4 corners. So it's warm in here enough. I let it warm up for a little bit, but I'm gonna get my 60-10 rods, nice and toasty, get all the moisture out of them, because there was a little bit of porosity on that side. So just a little bit of moisture, not a big deal. We're gonna get them heated up probably 300-400 degrees. Let them boil and start welding once we get that piece in there. I want it. This shit takes so long when you don't have the thing to cut it out. But we got it in there. That was a fight. Probably took me about an hour and a half. So I'm gonna go fire up the welder. It's about 12:30 in the morning, and we're gonna lay a nice 60-10 bead all the way across, and then I'm gonna grind it down, make it flush and smooth. All right, so I'm gonna do this zoomed in. We got everything. I didn't put a cap pass on it. I just did a quick filler pass with the 60-10. I'm not worried about it one bit. I will have to blow a hole in that side with a torch. I am thinking about making a side support, like a triangle piece here, but it's honestly just gonna take me so ungodly long to do that I personally don't think it's worth it. I think once we bolt this into the truck and everything, realistically it should be fine. I think I might add one later after it's already in the truck. But for now, that piece is what I wanted to get done, because I remember doing this one earlier, and this one took me about 2 hours-ish. This one, we're right around that 2-hour mark. That's what happens when you don't have a plasma table, and keep in mind this material is not perfect. Like you can see, it's just a piece of, yeah, you guys can see that. So you guys look up underneath, that's pretty much, what it is. So like I said, this isn't going, that is not going anywhere. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start building out the square. That's the second thing I need done tonight. And then once we get the square built out and the hinges and everything, I want the box done to the point where it can go in the truck, and then we need to do some measurements here for one more crossbar going across, and that's gonna be for the reels. So we're almost done. I say almost, but literally to do that box and everything, to cut everything out, it's probably gonna be another 2, 3, 4 hours, because I take my time on shit. All right, so we're coming along here. I got these two cut out. I think I did a pretty good job for doing it by hand. It ain't perfect, but we can fill that in with some weld. We got a little bit of nice overhang here, and a wee bit. We're about flush on that one, so we're gonna have to be careful, but I got everything. I wanna make sure that this is all squared in, and we're gonna do one side at a time and just follow the lines. That's gonna be my big thing here. And then we got the hinges over here, which obviously I'm gonna have to grind them down a little bit because they're a little bit bigger than what I need. So we're gonna we're gonna weld them in, and then I'm gonna grind them flush. So I'm gonna try to get that as center as possible. Probably one over here and one over here. So that's what we're gonna do. So that'll work. And then we got this little latch. This one's a temporary, this little latch here. I just needed something that's gonna, I could put something on it. I'm gonna weld that on quick, but I'm gonna go fire up the welder and throw a nice bead and get that welded out. And then we're gonna do the next one. So I'm gonna do these one at a time, just take my time. I don't wanna have to redo it. This is for me, I only have so much steel. So probably gonna get this all squared up. And the nice thing is, if I don't make perfect cuts, it's not a big deal. So I can, there's so much leeway, so I can figure out, okay, which side's the longest side and go from there. If it were a customer thing, it would matter a lot more, but it's for me. So this will pretty much do it once that box. All right, well, I ran out of gas. I think he said he had gas in here. I can't remember. But I'm going to try, and I'm just going to eat my burgers, and then I'm going to go get gas, but I got to grind down those. I had one more hole to do on this side, and we're going 6 inches from the other side. So that hinge should be pretty good. But unfortunately, well, I gotta go get gas. So, and then we're going to grind down the rest of the welds. I got to do this side yet. We got everything even for what it is. So if you guys look, so I'm going to take, and what I did before, this was such a good setup, having these. I thought about making tools have their own place in this thing, but the problem is if I ever want to change something. So if you guys look, right there. We're basically just gonna have to cut the tops off of these tubs, and we can put a shitload of these guys in there. And then it's pretty much universal. So I'm putting all of these bins back in the truck because I'm gonna need my tools on me, and that's how that'll be. But the same way that this is welded with the little pinholes through it, I don't think I have the other, I think I left the other hinge over here, which I'm still using 6010. No, I don't have the hinge. I don't know where the other hinge went. But, yeah. Oh, there it is. So basically, I'm just putting a tack weld, 1, 2, 3, and then this one here, I'm doing a drag downhill. I know some of you guys don't like downhill, but it is what it is. WeldTube did a video on it, and it does fine. So, especially for something like this. But they're not going to be the prettiest welds because they're literally little tacks, and that 6010 burns through this whatever this is. And I didn't clean it. Good weld comes with cleaning and all that shit. So I'm eating my burger, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, so my heater's acting up. It turned into a flamethrower. Probably shouldn't stand in front of it, but yeah, it turned into a flamethrower there for a second. I feel like it's doing something it's not supposed to. We'll update. It was shooting flames like 2 or 3 feet out, but by the time my camera got on, whatever. All right, it's about 10 a.m. We are headed to go get gas for the welder. I gotta go get kerosene, and we got a call back from the steel supplier, so we're gonna go grab one of those sheets, and we gotta make the floor. And then I didn't even think about it, we gotta make a lid too, and then we're gonna have to make a handle, and just, oh, I'm not looking forward to it, but I just want this project done. I also got to go down to Fisher's and get paint and whatnot and rust inhibitor. I'm just going to spray the whole thing in rust inhibitor, and then, yeah, we'll go from there. So I'll let you guys know when we're back in the shop. All right, we are back. I went and got gas. We got Caro. We got this sheet, which is sketchy as hell, but it's fine. It made it. I only had to go 5 minutes up the road. I'm gonna get the door open and start cutting this. All right, so we got the piece of steel in. I put it specifically this way, so I'm gonna cut the section I need. I think it was 49 by 25, so I'm gonna cut 2 of those. And I'm gonna start grinding this out. I wanna get that finish welded first. So I'm gonna do the other side real quick, fill the welder up with gas, and then once that's done and this comes up and down, I'm gonna weld the lock on the other side, and then start putting the lids on. And then we're gonna spray this whole thing in rust reformer, get this thing fired up so that we can warm this thing up, rust reform the entire thing, and then from there, we'll spray it black. So I went and got, oh, I don't know what I just kicked, but went and got this, and fuck that sub, and we got this stuff, so rust fix. So all right, so this is where we're at. I got that all finished welded out, the first one. Now I basically have to do everything that I just did, but on the bottom. And let me tell you, you go through a lot of welding rod. I was just gonna do the tap a hole, tap a hole, tap a hole, but you know, and there is some moisture in these welding rods, so there might be a little bit of porosity, but for what I'm doing, I'm not worried about it. It's gonna get covered in pretty much a rhino lining anyway. So I was thinking about grinding down, making everything smooth, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter. It's just a skid at the end of the day, and we can always make improvements. So I ground down what matters, and then this is the bottom here. So what I'm gonna do, before I start working on the bottom part, I'm gonna start working on the handle, which I think I'm just gonna do a nice little loop right there in the center. And then I might even just weld something to it, to be honest. Like, there's so much shit, like we have scrap everywhere. So I might just weld something to it just for a handle, for shits and giggles. Eventually we're gonna do the latch that like opens up like a normal toolbox, like these things here. But I think this video is getting a little long, so I'm trying to get to the point. So let's, I'm gonna skip to the next section. We'll make our handle, make our bottom piece, and then it is time for paint. Got to do some testing and mock-up first, because this square tube is all I have left, but that would make a nice spot for the reel. The thing is, if I weld to the side, come up a little bit short. Now when you're this long, it really doesn't matter if you come up a little bit short. I'd say that's about average. But I do have this other one here, which I could cut down if I really want to give myself the work, but I think I do. So what I'll do is I'll end up welding these two together, you know, cut them in and whatnot, and make them to length, because then I could have my reel there. And that would leave me, if I cut right there, that'll leave me with a complete sheet. So I think I'm gonna do that. And then once we get the handle done, I gotta flip this fucker over. All right, yeah, you can see it warped a little bit. This side's up, that side's down. But again, lid doesn't matter. This is the bottom. That sumbitch is heavy. I'm gonna be putting this thing in with an engine crane, I know that. I don't think it's gonna go in today. I think we're gonna get it all painted out and do that, and then I'll probably end up putting it in tomorrow. All right, so I'm gonna end it here. That rust stuff, this stuff sucks ass. I'm gonna throw it on the shelf because I already used it and fucking whatever. But we do have one can left of rust reformer. I started spraying it down. This stuff I really, really like, so I'm gonna spray the entire bed in this. And then, actually I'm gonna take it with me so I know what to get. And then we're just gonna spray it in gloss black right after. So that'll be that. Then everything I'm gonna spray inside as much as I possibly can get. And hopefully it never rots out because, well, let's just hope. So, other than that, I didn't get the handle or the other piece. The piece was the wrong size. So it wasn't gonna work anyway. I know I could weld and fabricate and this and that. I've been doing this all fucking night. I'm tired. I'm gonna go get more, and then I'm gonna either come back tonight or tomorrow. I got a customer coming in tomorrow to do something. So I gotta figure that out, and then I have a whole video on this coming soon. I actually started it, and then I got prioritized with this because this truck needs to go to work, and yeah, so I just wanna get this done and all the salt off of it and rust proofed and all the bullshit. And I did go and take a measurement from the tank to the ball, and it's gonna be too close with that big piece of sheet, so I'm just gonna leave that out. If I wanna add that in later on, we'll figure something out, but for now, I'm just gonna leave it out and just run it basically like this. We got the trunk, that was the biggest thing. So those two pieces by themselves, that one and that one took about 3.5 hours, about 1.5 hours, 2 hours a piece. So not having the proper tool to do it and just having a cutoff wheel, that takes for freaking ever. So other than that, hope you guys enjoyed it. This is where we're leaving it off. Everything's functioning. Some of the welds might not be the greatest. I'm still learning the 60-10. My 70-18 has been mint, but then going to 70 or 60-10, trying to learn that as well. So we're slowly getting there. These welds back here were ass. The ones on the other side are a lot better, but it is what it is. So see you guys.